alone. Even my friend Mandy was there. She was going to be my maid of honor. While we were eating, Dad suddenly started bragging about how I had become a doctor, and Anna was working at a nail salon. Dad, I don't work there. I own it. I also make nail art videos on TikTok. It's viral.
Whatever. It isn't as important as being a doctor. Look at the life she's made for herself. If only you were even an ounce like her.
What Anna does is good too, whatever it is. Mom, Dad, you both are impossible. And Cora, you are such a show-off. You invited us all to show off your new house and your fiancé, who is my leftover, by the way. Pathetic. What? I invited you because I wanted to make you my bridesmaid, but you don't deserve it. And Eric was with you a long, long time ago. So just get over it. Remember, he dumped you? After that, Anna glared at me and all of a sudden threw the soup in my face. My eyes burned. I wiped my face and then ran after her outside. I would have slapped her hard if Dad hadn't pulled me back. For the first time ever, Mom and Dad stood between us and tried to stop the fight instead of just yelling.
Girls, stop this at once.
Anna, how can you do this to your sister after how much she helped you? Huh? What do you mean?
Anna, it was Cora who gave you the money for the nail salon, not me. She told me not to tell you.
She looked shocked for a minute, and then she turned angrily to me. Why? You helped me just to shove it in my face, huh? Anna, you are impossible. The party is over. After everyone was gone, I felt so sad thinking about the hate Anna had for me. I knew we were this way from the start, all thanks to our parents, but after school, both of us hadn't tried to make things better. On the day of the wedding, I really wished my family was complete and Anna was there. Right when it was time for me to walk down the aisle, someone barged in. It was Anna, dressed in the pink bridesmaid's dress with tears in her eyes. I'm not good at this, Cora. I wanted to say I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for everything. I was a bully. I had so much anger bottled up, and I took it out on you. Please forgive me. Anna, you came, and that's all that matters now. Yeah, I couldn't miss this. Let me say this, Cora. I can't promise to be nice to you all the time, because that's just not how our relationship works. But I swear, I will try my best to make it up to you for the rest of my life. And to prove it, I want to apologize to Mandy, too. It was unbelievable to see Anna say sorry to Mandy. The two of them hugged. And when I learned that Anna had visited Mandy's place to talk, I was happy. My sister was trying to change herself. I am sorry, Anna. I'm sorry, too. Let's get you married now.
Hey, I'm Sarah, and for the last few years, I've been going to this super expensive private school for rich kids. Let me share a few stories of the craziest things I've seen happening here. First of all, almost all guys in my grade have several sugar babes. It really sucks. I mean, how shall I find a boyfriend in school if most guys here can date pretty much any model they want? You see, I'm just a normal girl. I grew up middle class. And only when my perfect mom, who is both a professor at a prestigious university and super beautiful, married a well-known Wall Street billionaire, I suddenly had to move to New York City and was put into this school for rich kids. At first, I felt super uncomfortable here. Everyone wore designer clothes and looked at me like I was a misfit. Maybe because I wore H&M and didn't have the latest iPhone. The cool kids completely ignored me, so I asked my mom's billionaire husband if he would give me some money for shopping. He kindly gave me $200, but I told him, I'm sorry, but that's just not enough. My classmates all wear designer clothes. I think I'll need at least $3,000 to buy good enough clothes to fit in. He shook his head in disappointment, but gave me the money anyway. Then I went on a wild shopping spree, buying tons of super fancy clothes. Sounds fun, but it wasn't. Because I had worn modest clothes all my life, and now I was betraying my own values just to make other people like me. It felt wrong. However, dressed like a rich girl, I went back to school and asked some of the cool kids how their weekend was. A girl responded, "Oh, it was so funny because we saw a poor homeless woman on the streets, and then we had a hilarious idea. We bought an $800 Dolce & Gabbana sweater and gave it to her. It's so funny because everyone will believe it's a fake one, even though it's real." I started laughing with them, even though I thought it was absolutely disgusting. I mean, with that money, they could have rented her a home for a month or bought her food for weeks. At least they accepted me into their clique. We were sitting down at an expensive restaurant when one of them spotted a beggar outside. He was still in his teens, and I felt so bad, but one of the girls said, "Why don't we invite him to dine at our table? We order expensive food and wait until he goes to the restroom. That's when we sneak out of the restaurant so that he has to pay the bill, which of course he can't. They all started laughing again, and one girl went outside to invite the homeless to eat with us. He looked tired, and I asked him to tell us his story, which was heartbreaking. He said his family had thrown him out when he was only 14, and ever since he'd been living on the streets. We ate together, and the other girl started giggling when he told us he'd go to the restroom. Once he was gone, we all stood up and left, but I quickly threw $300 on the table so he wouldn't get in trouble for not being able to pay. Things got even crazier when I was invited to my classmate Sergey's birthday party. He was only 16 but living in his own New York City penthouse. I did some research and found out that it cost $30,000 a month to rent it. Even more shocking was that he had 3 gorgeous models standing next to him at all times. At one point he said, "Me and my sugar babes welcome you to my home." I guess when you're rich you can buy love, or at least flesh. And Sergey was Russian, and we all know that Russians love to brag about how rich they are.
Morning, when I went to check my Facebook feed, I realized all my male friends were missing from my friends list, including my cousins, my uncles, and even my dad. I'd given my boyfriend Frank my Facebook login so he could upload some photos for me, but I didn't think he would mess with my account. When I asked him if he knew about it, he said, "Oh, you notice they are gone? So you are paying attention to other men. I knew it." What the hell? Frank had deleted all my male friends. Looking back, I should have left him then, but I figured it was just a stupid joke. However, his behavior only got worse. I was working at a marketing agency, and I would take breaks with my coworkers to vape outside. We talk about our various projects and make important decisions during those breaks. Well, one day I got home from work and Frank confronted me saying, "I saw you hanging out with other guys at work today." Wow. He had stalked me in my workplace, watching me when he should have been doing his own job. Things were getting creepy. I told him he didn't need to be jealous because I wasn't interested in any of my colleagues like that, but he got really angry and punched the wall. I was afraid he would hit me next, so I told him I wouldn't do it anymore. Big mistake. After that, he wanted more and more control over me. Like, he wouldn't let me wear certain clothes like shorts or tight shirts, and then he stopped me from talking to any of my male friends, including Steve, who is gay. Every day I got back from work, he would ask to go through my phone. At first, I wouldn't let him. I mean, everyone deserves some privacy, right? And there were text conversations with my friends where we talked about things I didn't want Frank to know about. But if I didn't do what he wanted, he'd scream at me for hours. And start trashing our apartment. It was so emotionally draining. Eventually, I gave in and let him check my phone, but I started deleting my text conversations before I came home so he couldn't see anything. It was horrible. I guess if he could, he would have locked me in the house and not let me go anywhere without him. It took a while, but at last, I realized things couldn't go on like that, and I broke up with him. For the first few weeks, he stalked me, and one day, he even climbed up my parents' house to look through our bathroom to watch me take a shower. After that, I got a restraining order from him, which means he isn't allowed to get near me or contact me in any way, or he will go to jail. However, that was 2 years ago, and Frank still sends me messages from anonymous phones. I don't want to change my number because it would feel like I'm letting him win. But whenever I see a text from him, it stresses me out. His last one was really weird. "I got another girl pregnant and it's all your fault." See how crazy he is? How could that be my fault? I wish he would just leave me alone. I don't understand why he's trying to make my life miserable. But luckily, I'm dating Nick now, and our relationship is much healthier. He respects my boundaries and we trust each other. I feel secure with him. Sure, Nick can be a bit possessive sometimes, but so can I. There's nothing wrong about being a little possessive. It's only natural. But when you try to control someone's whole life, you have some issues and maybe you should get help. I've done some research and it's frightening how many guys actually killed their girlfriends because they were jealous of them just talking to another man. It's insane. So, although I'm not a professional therapist, My advice would be to stay away from anyone who tries to completely control your life. Those people are evil and only care about what they can get out of you. They don't care about your happiness at all. Please be careful. Hey, I'm Catherine, and I have 2 boyfriends. I know. It sounds crazy, but it works well for me. My first boyfriend is Nicholas. He's a total bad boy, and I love it. He's got tattoos all over his body. He's incredibly charming, and he's a real ladies' man. Even when we're out together holding hands, he'll still flirt with other girls, but I don't mind. I mean, even though he sees other girls, he's always paying me compliments and telling me I'm the most beautiful girl in the world. Last weekend, he took me to an Ed Sheeran concert, and now we're planning to fly to Costa Rica next summer. I can't wait. We're going to go jet skiing and diving, and it's going to be amazing. Of course, some girls would get upset about him dating other girls, but he has always made it clear that we are only together to have fun, and trust me, we have a lot of fun. He's not perfect, though. I guess if he was, I wouldn't need to date a second guy, because he can be really immature at times. Like, one day he will send me a text about how much he's thinking about me, and then he will suddenly disappear for 2 weeks without a word. Nicholas can be frustrating, but there's something about him which keeps me coming back for more. I mean, he's so damn attractive, but I'll admit that someday I need someone more reliable in my life, which is why I'm also dating my other boyfriend, Bernd. He's one of the sweetest, kindest people you'll ever meet. He's always asking me how I am and making little gestures to let me know he's thinking of me, like sending me flowers when we haven't seen each other for a few days. While Nicholas is a real bad boy, Bernd is the opposite. He's nothing but nice. He's top of his class, and he's going to be a lawyer after he graduates. He does volunteer work in his spare time, and he's thinking about joining the Peace Corps for a few years before he starts practicing law. He's just a thoroughly decent human being. Sounds like the perfect man, right? Well, that's the problem. He's so perfect, it's boring. He's so worried about saying the right thing, he never relaxes and lets loose. Like, when we go out for dinner, he gets annoyed if I laugh too loud, because he's all about fitting in and not making a fuss. I can't remember the last time we went to a party together. Nicholas is the total opposite. He's always joking around, saying dumb things to make me laugh. He doesn't care what other people think. He just wants to have fun. Don't get me wrong. Bernd has his moments, but only when he's drunk, and he doesn't drink that often. There was one time when we went to a restaurant with a live band for my birthday. I made him drink wine with me to celebrate. Because he's not used to alcohol, he got so drunk that he went on stage and tried to sing with the band. It was so funny, even though we got kicked out of the restaurant. I had a great time, but when Bernd was sober the next day, he said he was really ashamed and swore it would never happen again. When I told him it was fine and he should relax, he said he didn't want to embarrass himself again. It's a real shame, because if Bernd wasn't so uptight, maybe I'd ditch Nicholas and just date Bernd. I mean, I really do care about him, but I want someone who knows how to have fun as well as show their softer side. Dating both guys means I get to spend time with someone who's fun and with someone who's caring. And it's not like I'm hurting anyone. Bernd knows about Nicholas, and although he'd rather we were exclusive, he'd never stop me from seeing him, because he wants me to be happy. I've decided that if I hit 36 and I still haven't found that one man who has it all, then I'll settle down with someone like Bernd. At least he's kind and caring, and I know he'll be a good dad. Thank you for listening